Hey fam, what's up? Welcome to Zito Unfiltered. No filter, no feelings, just the truth. Today I'm gonna touch on a slightly controversial one. It's not that controversial. It's conscription. It's that thing that made white boys in apartheid South Africa either run to the army or run away from the country. Elon Musk, the world's richest man, is one of those who ran away from the country because he didn't want to be conscripted into the army. You see, back then, conscription was compulsory for you if you were a white teenage boy. The minute you finished matric, if you weren't going to university, you were forced into the army. You had no choice, you could make no excuses, you were going. Now we all know apartheid was wrong. It was a crime to humanity. But if we are honest, there were lessons in that horrible system that we should have never just thrown away. I mean, the army for once, it's an institution that shapes young men. It forces discipline into them. It forces patriotism. It forces them to respect symbols like the national flag and the coat of arms. And the biggest of them all, it gives them skills. It gives soldiers necessary life skills. Try finding a white man over the age of 55 with no skill. It's super rare. Whether it's welding, plumbing, electrical work, building, those guys walked out of the army with tools to survive. That's why so many Afrikaners in places like your Orania, they can build their own communities without government support. They are self-sufficient because they were forced to acquire skills. They didn't have a choice. We have way too many choices and way too many rights in South Africa today. If you look at how many young men are just sitting idle in the township, how many are sitting around smoking, drinking, waiting for opportunities that are never gonna come. Now just imagine if instead of rotting on the corners by the spaza shops, they were forced to learn discipline. They were forced to wake up early, forced to respect themselves and their country, forced to learn a trade that can feed them for life, that can sustain them for their entire lifetime. Now that's the difference that conscription makes. It doesn't just teach you to shoot a gun. It teaches you to stand on your own 2 feet. It makes you useful to yourself, to your family, as well as your community and even your country. And let's be honest, it's more urgent now because the lack of discipline in the country is not a good thing. Because you see, without discipline, no degree, no skill, no hustle is going to save you. Conscription forced young men to find a backbone, and maybe, listen to me, just maybe, South Africa needs to enforce that backbone. Of course, it wasn't perfect. There were outlaws, there were rebels, there are those who ran. I mean, even today, there are those who are called Mabenas. But the majority of soldiers come out stronger, sharper, hungrier, more capable. Maybe it's time we talk about bringing it back. Not in the ugly apartheid way, but in a new South African way, where young men, black and white, rich and poor, urban and rural, all go through the same system, learn the same discipline, build the same love for this country, walk out with the skill and not just with the complaint. Because let me tell you something, Ro. If we keep raising idle men, we are going to keep raising broken communities. But if we force discipline, we are going to force change. In fact, just a sidebar, if I was a president of this country and I had dictatorial powers, there would be no one working in government that did not go through the army. Because I think we have a lot of people employed in government that don't understand the coat of arms. They don't love the flag. They don't love the country. They steal from the poorest, most vulnerable. I would force you to go through the army for you to even get a leadership role in government. If I was a Robert Mugabe type dictator. But that's it for today. Zito Unfiltered, no filter, no feelings. And as always, I'm your host, Mr. Linzito, the number one motivator south side of the equator. Shapenawe.